Well, look who just walked in, Mr. Stefanowski.
Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. And you're still running.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We got a ton of momentum. Thanks for having me in again.
I know, and you really do. What do you think about the number of candidates? What does that do to you?
Well, it's a lot. I think it's time to narrow it down. I think people get a little bit confused with all the names out there. We've got some terrific candidates. I would say any one of the candidates on our side is better than what the Democrats are putting up. But we've got the convention process, we got a signature process coming up, and that'll narrow it down, which I think will be helpful for voters.
I have a feeling that it's going to be a big turnout.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
I really do.
Yeah, people are not happy with what's going on in this state. They're going to turn out.
That's one of the big things, too.
Yes.
Is the turnout. What, if you were asked, as far as you're concerned, what is the most important thing to you as far as the public is concerned and the people that live in this state?
The economy. I mean, Dan Malloy and his horrible economic practices are driving people out of this state every single day. The social issues are important, Brad, but unless we get this economy right, nobody's going to want to be here. People are tired of getting taxed. I've got a plan to phase out the state income tax over 8 years on bobforgovernor.com. Get rid of the estate tax, lower regulation, put in term limits for politicians. There's a novel idea, right? Have politicians be limited to a certain number of years in office. But people are ready for a change. They're tired of the Democrats. 80% of the people don't want another politician as the next governor. I'm from the outside world. I was CFO of UBS Investment Bank. They want somebody who's had pragmatic experience, is going to come in here and make the tough decisions, and that's what I'm going to do.
How long do you think it's going to take for the general public to understand all of this with all these candidates? That's the thing that that is concern to me.
Yeah. Well, again, we'll see how many come out of the convention, how many get the signatures to be on the ballot. It's certainly going to be more than 2. It's going to be less than 12. But I think, in a way, people need to have a choice. There's a lot of candidates with different skill sets. I'm obviously partial, but I think somebody who's not a politician. I ran a $500 billion organization as UBS as the chief financial officer. We need somebody who's run a business or an organization the size of Connecticut. Connecticut's a $40 billion biannual budget. $40 billion. We can't afford to put somebody in the governor role who has not run an organization that size. It's too complicated, it's too broken, and we need somebody with leadership and a plan, and I've got both.
When you stop to think about turnout, I also feel that this is going to be a big, big turnout.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. It looks like we'll be up against Ned Lamont. At least he's got the momentum right now. I would love to run against him. I grew up in New Haven. I was successful. I've run organizations with 15 to 20,000 people over 3,500 countries. I know how to do this, and I would love to run against him.
What do you think as far as I'm glad you mentioned his name.
Yeah.
Because he seems to be the guy.
Yeah.
And again, when you stop to think about it, you want to tackle him.
Absolutely. I would love to. And rightfully so, Republicans say we need somebody who's electable. If it's Ned Lamont, I am eminently qualified to run against him. I've got a better business career. I know the state better. I grew up in New Haven. My parents never went to school. My dad ran the scoreboard at the Yale Bowl for 30 years. I went to local colleges. I've been successful, but I've earned it from the way up. I'm not, a guy with a silver spoon coming out of Greenwich. I'm a New Haven guy that went to the public schools. It's been effective and wants to give back to the state and fix it for my kids and all the other kids around here. I think that's a great contrast to what the Democrats are going to put up.
Well, when you stop to think about politics now, and this is, something I have never seen so many candidates.
Yeah.
This is, seriously.
Yeah.
And different kinds of candidates.
Well, it's the other thing I've been vocal about. Why we have so many is the taxpayers are paying for this election. Every one of those 12 candidates is using almost everyone is using taxpayer money to run their campaign. They get $1.2 million for the primary and $7 million for the general to go around and tell everybody how broken the state is. and how we need to be more fiscally disciplined. I'm doing it through raising voluntary contributions throughout the state. And if I'm the one who's elected, I'm going to save the taxpayers of Connecticut $7 million before I'm even in office, because I'm not going to ask them to pay for my campaign. To me, it's the ultimate in hypocrisy, Brad, that a lot of these candidates are taking taxpayer money to buy bumper stickers and yard signs and tell everybody how broken the state is. It's a bad system.
And you're not doing that.
I am not doing that. I'm funding it through my own and through contributions, grassroots contributions throughout the state. I'm going to save the taxpayers $7 million because I'm funding it not through taxpayer money before I'm even in office. That's a good start for a governor, saving the people $7 million before you're even put in office. That's what I'm going to do.
Well, we have got to, the reason that Connecticut has had the problems that we've had is they spend too much money.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just obvious. Exactly. It's obvious that they've been spending too much money.
I was listening earlier. Overtime. Over $200 million in overtime pay for state employees. How does that happen? Where is the management? Where is the leadership? Where's the fiscal discipline? Thank goodness we dodged a bullet with tolls, primarily because a lot of the work you did in other radio stations. If I'm governor, there's never going to be tolls in this state. Never. We're taxing people like crazy. It has to stop. And the last 8 years of Dan Malloy, tax and spend, has proven that it doesn't work. So how are the Democrats going to get up there in the fall and say, well, if we just put one more tax in, or one more toll, or tax tires at $3 per tire, the fundamental economic policy needs to change. We need to lower regulation. We need to lower taxes. We need to create an environment where both people and businesses want to come back to Connecticut. And we can do it, Brad. I've been doing it for 30 years in the private sector. We can absolutely do it for the state of Connecticut.
Well, there's no question. There's no question about it. And you just look at it and you say, how did we get where we are? I mean, it's just obvious. Got nothing to do with politics, but everybody is complaining.
The people in Hartford, it's our money. They view it like their money. You know, they use it to bail out a city like Hartford, and I love Hartford, but we're rewarding bad behavior. We need to file Hartford for bankruptcy. I hate to say it. And we need to start over and build a vibrant city. But until we get rid of the liabilities in Hartford, just like Detroit did, but until you have somebody up there that's willing to do the right thing to be a leader, rather than worrying about the next election like most of these politicians are, it's not going to happen. We need leadership. We need tough decisions, and I can bring that to the table.
It's coming up to 8:30. Mr. Stefanowski, my special guest here this morning, and we'll get back in just a couple of minutes. Got some news coming up, and then back with more right here on the Brad Davis radio broadcast. Bob Stefanowski wants to be governor of the state of Connecticut. And, Robert,
yes,
if you have a speech to make, okay, what would your most important thing be? What do you think Connecticut needs the hardest?
I think at a high level, it's make people feel good and proud about being in this state. As I said, I grew up in New Haven. I built a great career here. I want my daughters and all the young people in this state to be proud of where we are. And I think it starts with leadership. I think it starts with fixing this economy, having the tough discussions with people, getting an environment, both an economic environment and vibrant cities, and get this back to where it was 20 years ago. BobForGovernor.com. I've got the plan to do it. I'm an outsider. I got a ton of momentum. We're going to win this election, Brad, and fix the state.
Well, you came in today. And I know you're going to be out more and more.
We're out, yep. And throughout the state. But I appreciate you having me in. You guys have been terrific. We got a ton of momentum. We got a plan. I'm an outsider. People don't want another politician replacing Malloy. We are very, very well positioned in this election right now.
Well, thank you for coming in.
Thank you very much for having me.
You bet. Bob Stefanowski, gubernatorial candidate. Yes, he's going to run for governor. Connecticut's economy is the big factor in his book. Is the big